Get ready for a mysterious journey as we delve into the unsettling events that unfolded in California. It all began on Valentine's Day in 2009, when 28-year-old Cori Desmond mysteriously vanished after finishing her bartending shift in Redondo Beach. The enigma deepened when, just a few days later, her lifeless body was discovered concealed within a plastic garbage bag on the desolate roadside of Running Springs in San Bernardino County. As the story unravels, we'll uncover the perplexing twists and turns of a case that left even the police with conflicting narratives. Yet in the shadows of this perplexing mystery, the investigation ultimately met a baffling dead end. A mysterious turn of events unfolded when an observant woman, having glimpsed Cori's image on a billboard, made a crucial call to the police department. Born on March 18, 1980, at Torrance Memorial Hospital, Cori Desmond's life began in the spotlight as she valiantly battled for survival, facing a perilous hole in her diaphragm. With daunting odds stacked against her, a mere 20% chance of survival, she underwent numerous surgeries. Yet, in an astonishing twist, Cori not only defied these odds but thrived in the face of adversity. Those close to Desmond recognized her as an intelligent and self-assured young woman, unafraid to voice her thoughts. Brimming with energy and overflowing with affection for her extensive circle of loved ones, she pursued her academic path, culminating in a master's degree in criminal justice from Long Beach State. Her life's purpose remained elusive as she explored various avenues, eventually settling on a career as a teacher, with a heartfelt mission to educate autistic children. In a curious twist, just a week after her untimely passing, a notification arrived by mail, heralding her attainment of a teaching credential. Revered by many, she exhibited both sweetness and unyielding resolve. She possessed the remarkable ability to command the attention of a bustling bar crowd, while effortlessly belting out cherished karaoke tunes like Black Velvet or These Boots Were Made for Walking, once more seizing the spotlight. Cori's profound connection to the secondary family she found in the establishments she worked at compelled her to return, despite her family's differing desires. In the year 2009, Cori was employed at a bar. It was on the evening of Saturday, February 14th, when her shift concluded at 9:30 p.m. Following her shift, she embarked on a brief journey merely 2 blocks away to the renowned establishment known as Street Lounge. Within the confines of this establishment, Cori was familiar to many, for she had acquaintances among the staff. Surveillance cameras captured glimpses of her assisting her friends at the bar. Her presence endured until the late hours, well past the closing time, stretching into the depths of the night around 2 a.m. However, from that point onward, an enigmatic shroud cloaked her whereabouts, concealed even from her closest companions. On a fateful Monday, February 16th, the clock neared 2:20 p.m., and it was then that the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Office received a harrowing communication, originating from a location nearly 100 miles removed from the establishment where Cori had last been sighted. The caller, compelled to halt and remove snow chains from his vehicle's wheels, was instantly greeted by an overpowering and disconcerting odor as he stepped out of his car. Initially attributing the foul scent to an unfortunate encounter between a vehicle and an animal, he reluctantly succumbed to curiosity. In close proximity to his vehicle, he encountered a most peculiar sight, a dark obsidian-hued plastic bag concealing within it the lifeless form of a woman, her identity shrouded in mystery. The man, overwhelmed by panic, dashed onto the roadway urgently, flagging down passing cars and beseeching for assistance in contacting the authorities, driven to desperation as his phone's battery had succumbed to lifelessness. Through the analysis of fingerprints and examination of her driver's license, the victim was identified as none other than Cori Daye Desmond, a 28-year-old who had endured a horrifying assault. The woman's demise resulted from the cruel grip of strangulation, leaving behind a haunting tableau of contusions marking her visage and throat, coupled with traumatic injuries to the rear of her head. Cori valiantly sought to defend herself, evident in the defensive wounds she bore. Despite exhaustive efforts, the precise moment of her passing remained elusive to medical experts. Their estimation posited that Cori had traversed the desolate streets for a duration spanning between 12 to 36 hours prior to her discovery by the man. An eerie discovery emerged as Cori's pants were discovered unfastened, pulled down to her knees, yet no traces of intimate contact surfaced. Puzzlingly, investigators surmised that the location where the man stumbled upon Cori's lifeless form was not the site of her untimely demise. It appeared that the malefactor had clandestinely deposited her remains by the roadside, harboring the hope that the passage of time would obfuscate this malevolent act. Regrettably, the relentless rain had extinguished all potential traces of evidence before the man stumbled upon her lifeless frame, rendering the investigation into this enigma even more formidable. Delivering somber tidings to the bereaved, or those with missing loved ones, arguably constitutes one of the most arduous aspects of a law enforcement officer's vocation. During this period, Cori resided alongside her grandmother. The revelation concerning the discovery of her granddaughter's lifeless form concealed within a refuse bag profoundly rattled the elderly lady. Simultaneously, this disheartening revelation bore no less weighty an impact upon Mark, Cori's father. Mark possessed a keen understanding of the workings of the system, recognizing that on occasion, the police may protract investigations by several months due to the requisites of securing search warrants, conducting interrogations, and procuring fingerprint evidence. Instances abound wherein the labyrinthine bureaucracy engendered delays in the expeditious resolution of criminal cases. Consequently, Mark opted against a passive stance, electing to take matters into his own hands. He asserted that the love he harbored for his daughter endowed him with the fortitude to commence the quest for the malefactor. Mark's investigative efforts culminated in the discovery of Cori's Jeep Wrangler, concealed within a dimly lit alley proximate to her workplace. A disconcerting revelation emerged, indicating that Cori had vanished on the evening of February 15th, a fact unbeknownst to anyone at that juncture. Grandma remained composed in light of the situation, recognizing Cori's status as an adult, affording her the liberty to spend evenings with friends if she so chose. Furthermore, Cori often labored into the late hours of the night, returning home when her grandmother was already in slumber. Investigators embarked on a journey to the establishment where Desmond plied her trade, fueled by the hope of unearthing potential witnesses or leads. They engaged in dialogues with fellow employees, uncovering that Cori's workday culminated at 9:30 p.m., after which she frequented another bar. This was a customary practice for her, as many of her acquaintances held positions at that establishment, prompting Cori's post-shift visits. These visits entailed aiding her friends behind the bar or engaging in conversations while perched at the counter, a venture that often garnered her additional gratuities. Cori's visage had become a familiar fixture to the patrons of the bar, with many regarding her as an integral part of the staff. The veracity of these accounts was corroborated by surveillance footage, capturing Cori rendering assistance to her comrades at the bar. Regrettably, the responsibilities of a bartender transcended mere libation provision and conviviality. On occasion, the consumption of alcohol could precipitate the abandonment of emotional restraint and a subsequent descent into inappropriate behavior. On that fateful evening, Cori found herself ensnared in an unfortunate encounter with one such individual. Eyewitnesses recounted a heated altercation involving Cori and an individual who displayed provocative behavior. This man, known for bothering women and making impolite advances, had crossed a line that others hesitated to address. Amidst the collective silence, Cori took it upon herself to defend the bar's patrons. In no uncertain terms, she conveyed to the man that his presence was unwelcome. Although the unruly guest seethed with anger, he eventually acquiesced and departed. Undeterred, Cori resumed her role, assisting her friends in crafting beverages behind the bar as if the incident had never occurred. Despite having consumed alcohol that evening, her conduct remained unaffected. It was past 2 a.m. when she left the bar, embarking on what she likely believed would be a journey homeward. Little did anyone know that, as events would later unveil, Cori's lifeless form would be discovered by a man some 100 miles distant from the bar the following day. Mark provided the police with all the information at his disposal, and he made televised appeals for anyone with crucial information to come forward. Concurrently, law enforcement managed to identify the man who had a heated altercation with Cori before her demise. During questioning, this individual claimed to be unfamiliar with Cori Desmond's identity, but admitted to a significant altercation with her at a bar on February 14th. Attributing his behavior to the influence of alcohol, the man recounted being promptly ejected from the bar after the incident, after which he returned home to sleep. He vehemently denied any connection to the crime, willingly agreeing to undergo a polygraph examination and allowing the police to search his residence and vehicle. Despite a thorough examination of the suspect's car, no traces such as bloodstains, hair, or items belonging to Cory were discovered. The vehicle, both inside and out, appeared unkempt, yet forensic experts failed to unearth any incriminating evidence. The investigators' final attempt to uncover falsehoods rested on the polygraph test, which, to their dismay, the man passed with relative ease, providing honest responses to all of the police's inquiries. Moreover, his wife corroborated his account, affirming that he had returned home prior to 2 a.m. and immediately retired to bed. Given that Cory left the bar around 2 a.m., it appeared that this individual had no involvement in her untimely demise. As a result, the police ruled him out as a suspect. However, the quandary lay in the absence of any other individuals of interest in this ongoing investigation. Delving into Cory's personal life, investigators embarked on a quest to ascertain whether she had any adversaries who might harbor ill intentions towards her. Yet, a peculiar detail emerged during their inquiries. The bar's proprietor, where Cory was employed, recounted an unusual encounter. On that fateful night, Cory had approached him, seeking permission to use the restroom. Regrettably, given the late hour at approximately 2:20 in the morning and the bar being closed, he declined her request and advised her to head home. What ensued thereafter shrouded itself in mystery, for Cory neither entered her car nor embarked on her journey home. Investigators posited the possibility of her abduction or assault in close proximity to her workplace. Nevertheless, the bar's surveillance cameras failed to capture any such occurrence, and the deserted streets at that late hour yielded no witnesses. At the time of Cory's demise, her blood alcohol content exceeded 4 times the legal limit for driving. It remained unclear whether she had intended to use her vehicle or sought alternative means of transportation home. Regrettably, she encountered no one who could assist her that fateful night. A month later, the investigation reached an impasse, with the police exhaustively examining all leads and hypotheses, but uncovering no fresh suspects. Mark, Cory's father, remained resolute in his quest for answers. He took the initiative to lease 3 billboards along Aria Boulevard in Rondo Beach. These billboards prominently featured a photograph of his daughter, accompanied by a haunting question: who is responsible for Cori Daye Desmond's demise? Mark Desmond extended a substantial reward of $15,000 for any information that could aid the authorities in their investigation. His determination was unwavering as he declared, "I intend to leave them in place to remind people that the perpetrator is still at large. Perhaps it may offer some measure of protection to others." This narrative bears a resemblance to that of Alexandra Kemp. In the latter case, her father, Roger, left no stone unturned in his pursuit of justice, and billboards proved pivotal in unraveling the mystery. Information about Cory intermittently graced 50 electronic billboards, ultimately yielding results. It was in May 2009 when the phone at the police precinct finally rang. The caller was Tiffany Ware, who had encountered one of these billboards featuring Cory's image. Tiffany's call marked a turning point in the case. Her voice quivered as she spoke, her demeanor fraught with anxiety and trepidation. Her words seemed scattered initially, as if she grappled with where to commence. Yet she eventually composed herself and uttered, "Hello, my name is Tiffany. I believe my boyfriend Tony Lopez Perez may be responsible for the demise of that bartender Cori Daye Desmond. Please investigate him. His behavior has been quite peculiar, but I'll provide more details when we meet." Tiffany made several calls in her attempt to arrange a meeting with the detective. Their rendezvous took place in the park, and it was during this meeting that she shared her unsettling suspicions. As per her account, on February 14th, she and Tony had meticulously planned a romantic Valentine's Day dinner. Tiffany had dedicated the entire evening to preparing for this special date. She entrusted the care of their children to their grandparents, indulged herself with a visit to the beauty salon, and even acquired a new crimson dress. The choice of red attire held significance, as Tony had a profound affinity for her in red garments. It had a captivating effect on him. Despite having been occupied with work during the day, Tony was supposed to return home by around 11:30 p.m. However, Tiffany found herself waiting anxiously for his arrival throughout the night. She made repeated attempts to contact him, but all calls and messages went unanswered. Tony eventually reappeared at 4:30 in the morning, offering a seemingly innocuous explanation that he had been too inebriated to make it home and had consequently dozed off in his car. Tiffany couldn't help but observe the peculiarity in Tony's behavior. It was unusual for him to display such meticulousness in car maintenance. He had promptly acquired an entire set of cleaning supplies and meticulously scrubbed his vehicle, refusing any assistance from her. At the time, these actions struck her as odd, though she hadn't attached significant importance to them. A few days later, Tony proceeded to sell his white Dodge for a paltry sum and acquired another vehicle. Furthermore, he inexplicably changed his phone number, leaving Tiffany perplexed by these enigmatic developments. Sometime later, they embarked on a joint trip to Big Bear Lake. Their conversation flowed smoothly during the journey, and everything appeared ordinary until Tony abruptly pulled the car to the roadside. Turning to Tiffany, he posed an unexpected question. "Do you believe that this deceased girl, the bartender, what was her name, was disposed of here?" He followed with, "I'm almost 100% certain that this is where the police discovered her lifeless body." Tony Lopez Perez and Tiffany Ware shared a cohabitation of approximately 4 years, resulting in the birth of their 6-year-old son, although they never formalized their union in marriage. Tony was recognized as a diligent individual who enjoyed harmonious relationships with others, and he had remained free from any legal complications. Hailing from a sizable family of 8 siblings, he and his parents had roots in the LA area, while Tony attended high school in Manhattan Beach. In light of the circumstances surrounding Cory's demise, including Tony's absence on that fateful day, his uncharacteristic car cleaning and prompt sale, a peculiar excursion, the enigmatic comment about the discovery site of the victim's body, a change in phone number, and unusual conduct, Tiffany began piecing together a disturbing suspicion that Tony might be connected to Cori Desmond's tragic fate. Reluctantly, she entertained this unsettling notion. The investigators, keen to maintain discretion, initiated a conversation with Tony and paid a visit to his residence, striving to avoid arousing his suspicions. Tiffany, willing to cooperate with the authorities, chose to keep the contents of this discussion concealed from him. Ostensibly, it appeared as if they were conducting routine inquiries among individuals to identify potential witnesses in the Cori Desmond case. Throughout the interaction, Tony presented an air of composure, resembling an individual with no hidden agenda, answering the investigators' questions without displaying any signs of nervousness. He asserted his lack of familiarity with her, citing that he had merely glimpsed Cory in newspaper articles. Nonetheless, to apprehend Tony Lopez Perez for the alleged act of taking Cory's life, concrete proof was imperative. Consequently, the police tracked down the new owner of the Dodge vehicle that Tony had swiftly sold following the news of Cory's passing. The new proprietor corroborated that Tony had indeed transferred ownership of the car at a remarkably low price and consented to allow the police to conduct a thorough examination of the vehicle for any potential evidence. Tiffany disclosed that Tony had meticulously cleaned the car's interior before selling it. However, when experts applied luminol and employed an ultraviolet lamp, the reason behind Tony Lopez Perez's haste in parting with his car became glaringly apparent. The car's interior illuminated in a vivid shade of blue under the investigative techniques. Subsequently, the police requested Tony's presence at the police station, deliberately withholding any information regarding their discovery to prevent him from fleeing. Initially, he contended that he had never crossed paths with Cory, but he subsequently altered his statement, asserting that he had sighted her in the vicinity of the bar and had even whistled in her direction. Upon detecting the inconsistencies in Tony's testimony, the police presented him with photographs of the car he had sold and informed him of their pivotal findings. At this juncture, Tony shifted his account once more, claiming to have observed Cory outside the bar, positioned beneath a street lamp. According to his revised narrative, Cory abruptly lost consciousness and collapsed onto the sidewalk. He purportedly attempted to assist her, but she remained unconscious. Resorting to slapping Cory's cheeks, he alleged that she eventually regained consciousness. She told him to get out and asked him to let her go. According to Tony's account, he became frightened, covering her mouth with his hands, and inadvertently strangled her. Overwhelmed by fear that he would be held responsible for Cory's demise, he placed her lifeless body in the rear seat of his vehicle and drove home. Perez recounted waking up during the night and venturing outside in an attempt to ascertain whether it was a nightmarish illusion. I opened the door and it was not a nightmare, Perez conveyed to the detectives. The grim reality had dawned upon him. Perez continued, stating that he returned indoors and made an effort to find solace in sleep. The following morning, he proceeded to work with Desmond's remains still present in the back seat. Upon concluding his workday, he carefully encased her body in 2 garbage bags, transported it to a secluded location, and left it adjacent to the roadside. Tony's narrative portrayed Cory's fate as an unfortunate accident, stemming from his intoxicated and panicked state during the incident. However, the extent of Cory's injuries contradicted this version of events. She bore severe injuries to the rear of her head, contusions on her face and neck, and defensive wounds on her hands. Furthermore, Cory's pants were discovered lowered to her knees. Consequently, Tony Perez was arrested and faced charges of first-degree deprivation of life. Subsequently, he led the police to the location where he had disposed of Cory's body. In addition to Tony's confession, the results of DNA tests further incriminated him. The presence of Cory's blood was a match for the blood found in the car that Tony promptly sold following the commission of the crime. During the 2011 trial, Coroner Jack Sheridan testified about the numerous contusions on the victim's head, the evidence pointing to strangulation, and the facial blunt force trauma. Sheridan also noted the presence of scratches on her body, suggesting that the perpetrator had dragged her after her demise. Based on Cory's injuries, the prosecution asserted that Perez assaulted her and attempted to coerce her into an intimate encounter in the early hours of February 15, 2009. Cory resisted, thwarting his advances. In response, Perez resorted to strangulation. Tiffany Ware, a witness in the trial, provided her testimony. She informed the San Bernardino County jury that her former partner, Tony Lopez Perez, exhibited an insatiable sexual desire during January and February 2009. Despite their nearly daily intimate encounters, Ware stated that Perez remained unsatisfied. Tiffany also disclosed to the court that Tony had, on 2 occasions, engaged in non-consensual intimacy with her. These incidents occurred following the birth of their child, with approximately 1 month between them. Both times, she was in a deep slumber on the couch after taking pain relievers for severe back discomfort. Perez, who opted not to testify during the trial, shared his initial statements with the court during his sentencing. He expressed that he had been raised with principles of love and respect for others, but had, at times, strayed from this path. I forgot the fundamental lessons instilled in me about being a man, a father, a caring uncle to many, and a responsible provider for my beloved family, Perez acknowledged. In the end, I fell short. He generally adhered to the narrative presented by his attorney, Andrew Hanel, during the trial. Hanel contended to the jury, composed of 6 men and 6 women, that Perez had encountered Cory when she was unconscious on the sidewalk. He maintained that Perez had attempted to console her and had not intended to cause her harm. I should have thought before taking action, Perez admitted. I should have paused and cleared my mind. Fear overwhelmed me. I was so frightened, so reckless. Mark Desmond, Cory's father, reflected on his daughter's promising future that was tragically cut short at the age of 28. Tony Perez should bear the burden of knowing he extinguished not only Cory's life, but also the hopes and dreams of his own children. He epitomizes the traits that women in society dread. Just before his sentencing, Perez humbly appealed to God in the courtroom for mercy. My most profound apologies to the Desmond family and to my own family. I have inflicted profound pain and sorrow upon the Desmond family, leaving an indelible mark on their lives. I hope he never sees the light of day again, remarked Beverly, Cory's grandmother. I hope he endures the same suffering she endured. In July 2011, a jury composed of 6 men and 6 women found 36-year-old Tony Lopez Perez guilty of first-degree murder. He was subsequently sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 25 years. Cori Desmond's family expressed their gratitude to Tiffany Ware, whose assistance led to the resolution of this case. Leslie Schwab, a family friend who attended every day of the trial, along with about a dozen others in San Bernardino County, remarked, "If it hadn't been for her, I don't think they would have ever uncovered that it was him." And that wraps up today's video. I hope you found it both informative and enjoyable. Drop a comment below and share your thoughts, ideas, and go ahead and hit that like button below. It really helps me out. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. Just click the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.